It's good to be back with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I when we don't have these like on a regular basis, I miss it.
Me too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
This is just
That we,
a
I swear, we
treat.
would do this even if they never get released, which is a possibility.
Come on.
No, but
People need to see this.
yeah. Well,
This is
I
a s-
mean,
This is a service we do to humanity.
I like that.
I'm very humble as usual.
I like that. You know what? Someone asked me on Friday about the podcast. They asked me if how does it feel to sit down and kind of like not know what you're talking about? Like, do I get nervous? Do we like have moments of like awkward silences? Do we like fumble when we talk? And I said no, that's the best part. The best part. The best part is when we sit down and talk. It's the most natural thing to sit down and chat with you guys. So I think whether it's released or whether people like it or not, or have very, very nice conversations. So it's nice to have them recorded. Just that.
Posterity, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It's so cool to have types of friendships where it's just so natural, and yeah, it's so natural as we look at these lights and the tech and the
Well, we don't pay attention to this stuff
Obviously.
anymore because we say, well, I say outrageous things, but I don't care.
I think there's
But-
some outrageous things. We were talking about this right before
Yeah.
we started that we will be saying on another channel or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to the point where we can really be a little more rowdy, a little more. Not that we're not being honest now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always honest on this podcast. I feel. Oh, I'm not.
You
Am I?
lying
I'm-
whore?
I'm not honest.
No, you are. You know what I mean? Like there's there's like a authenticity. There's layers of authenticity. So it's
Yeah.
not like we're wearing masks, but also we're also aware that we want to be PG, a certain level of I don't know, PG, is that a word that travels? Do we know what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's not about being more authentic, rather just going on deeper levels of ourselves, like revealing more layers of who we are because we are multi-layered. So on every layer we are being transparent, authentic. Like when we talked about our relationships, our children, who we were as women, what we had to go through. I think we were all very authentic and transparent about that. But yes, there are deeper levels to us, and the growth is continuous and exponential. So it'd be nice to have a space where, yes, we're not worried about like if everything we say resonates with everyone. It's layers of like, it could resonate with you, it could not, but it's still layers of us,
It's who we are, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other night, I think we kind of tapped into a level of goofiness that we hadn't seen in a while. I mean, you're always a little bit goofy.
I'm very goofy. I think you reached the goofiness of a lifetime.
surprising.
I think you are. I am not surprised. I was not surprised. I know her. I know that side of you.
Well, when have you seen that level
I
of goofiness?
know that side of you.
You just knew it was coming.
Yeah. Well, I know it, but I have never seen it in full display in front of everyone, but I know it.
That's
I
true.
know that you are silly and goofy and all, but it just you tend to not do it with everyone.
Right.
Yeah, so that's an
Yeah.
example of seeing like a
Mm.
different layer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun. I don't know. The mushrooms, they will do it to you.
It was definitely fun.
I loved it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was a wild night. We're just saying stuff like what happened that night.
Do you want to talk about what happened to you, or is it better to maybe?
To me,
Yeah.
like on a. Well, I was just being the funniest person
You're
in
just
the
being
room.
a superstar. That's all.
I was so high, like
Yes.
fucked up high.
Mhm.
What happened? I saw you in the kitchen. Your eyes are like this. You're like, I am high. Like, what had you gone through?
I think I took a bigger dose than usual, and I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I was exhausted before I came. Like I was really tired. And mentally I was not all there. Like I was going down. I was not in my best mental state. And I took a big dose, like 1.5. Yeah.
Of Dino Egg.
Of,
I think.
Dino
yeah,
Egg.
that's a big one for you.
And it just knocked me. Like I was just going like, oh, what the hell is happening to me? I've never felt this high in my life. It was too much for me to handle, and I was just starving. I just wanted to eat meat. I was screaming, I want meat, I want meat.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Yeah, and then I had to lay
Wait,
down.
was it ever negative though? Because when I hear someone say like it was too much, that means like, oh, it was not fun at one point. Or was it just really strong?
It was strong. No, I had a lot of fun, especially. But I needed to get out of here because it was just I don't know. I couldn't handle other people.
Yeah, well,
around
on
me.
high doses.
Yeah.
I know for me, like I just want to get into myself for at least
Yeah.
an hour. I need that like alone. Yeah. So yeah, for you, that was the biggest you've
Yeah,
ever had.
I had
yeah.
to get out of here,
Yeah.
and then I went to the bedroom and laid down with my
proceeded to-
chaperone.
Your DJ chaperone.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, right away I just wanted to move. We didn't dance. I was in Minnesota last weekend, and so I didn't get to dance, and so I just plus it was pretty crowded,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's just like, oh, I'll just if I go to the basement, then maybe other people will feel, and that will kind of loosen things up in this space. So I don't. As a host, it's like I can't be in all the rooms at once, so I sometimes feel bad about like not being in the main space, but at the same time, it's like, oh, you guys, you've been here long enough. This
Yeah.
is like.
I'm the co-hostess at some point. I feel a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Well, I told everyone, it's like, you guys need to thank. Everyone's like, Kate, thank you. Remember to thank Lamia. Like, she comes early. She bakes the food. She picks it up. It's like, I couldn't do this without her. So this is the most boring podcast ever. We're just like, I love you. I love you.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about
Let's talk some shit.
Let's talk about
There's no shit. I mean, I know there's shit going down in the world, but I really can't keep track of it anymore.
seriously, I zoned out. Like now, I don't want to. I know. I read the news and I'm like, oh Jesus, this is not gonna end. What's happening in the
Well,
Middle
it's going
East?
to end, but
Well, like you know what I mean. It keeps thing after thing after thing, and it's like, what is going on? Like, I don't even want to analyze it or I'm just looking at it and I'm like, okay, all right, it's insane. Tell us, you Middle Eastern
I'm completely
woman.
disconnected
Yeah.
from what's going on politically in the world. Because participating and observing and reacting does not serve me. So, and it doesn't change anything. I mean, it's playing out the way it's got to play out, whether I'm outraged, sad, whatever, or happy, or, you know, any investment of emotion in this is not worth it, really. So I'm completely disengaged to what's going on, and my God, I feel so much better for it. Jesus.
It's consuming when you get like really invested in it. It's just not good for your mental health, because what can we do, seriously? I don't know.
no, I think, well, is it, we've talked about this before. Has it gotten easier for you? Like, what's this process been like for you to completely disengage? Was it,
Yeah,
Did you ever
it was a process. You know what I mean? It was a process where at one point, like, and I've talked about this here, where I was so invested in what's going on, and like it was hard for me to be around people who had an opinion. Like, you know, when you're invested, you're taking a side, you're seeing a side, you're playing a narrative, whatever it is, you know, and then just being with someone who's playing another narrative was seemed difficult for me, like to be around like people who during the war in Lebanon who are like pro-Israel, and like it's happening in Lebanon. So I felt that duality and that separation, and I think it's a choice for me. Then I decided to apply that choice of being, well, no, I'm privileged because I'm in a safe environment. I'm not threatened. This is not actually happening to me personally. So I'm in a privileged situation to choose otherwise, to choose love, and to understand that any narrative is valid from the perspective of the person holding it. So
Say that one again for those in the back. That is so perfect.
Right? And so which gives us the responsibility to choose our narrative and our perspective. I don't want to be in a dualistic mindset where it's like, oh, what I think is right, what you think is wrong, therefore like all those like separative narrative. No, we're all one, and we're all having our journey and our path and our experience. And what's happening is a momentum of decades and decades and centuries of human
Dysfunction.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. So I think being in reaction of what is just keeps looping what is, and turning the focus on, okay, well, what could become, like, let's focus on building communities, let's focus on growing, let's focus on what our potential, instead of being always in reaction of what is, which is observable and justified, so it gets looped so easily. So that's my process, and I allowed myself to dive deep into it, like to feel the separation, to get angry, to get like, no, oh my God, how could this be possible? Injustice, this, that, And then to choosing that, okay, well, I mean, I can stay there forever, and it's not going to change, and stay that, and it's going to, fill up my boat with water like, it's like literally taking water and putting it in your boat, and be like, oh shit, I'm drowning,
Or that we were talking earlier about like being energetically leaky, like allowing, like being angry about something that's completely out of your control. It's like, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot that you could be putting into your own life. And what I'm imagining when I think about energy now, and that idea of being energetically leaky, is like, if there's anything in your life that's generating fear or obligation or resentment, or like that, or guilt, like that's a leak. That's an opportunity to patch it. And how do you patch it? You figure out, like, because what I'm feeling now, and we can talk, there was the thing that brought it on is I have a friendship that I didn't end, but I very consciously changed the structure of it. And I know the person on the other end wasn't super happy about that, but I recognize, like, oh, the way I'm interacting with this person, it's not fun for me anymore. I'm not getting anything out of it. And for a while I thought, well, maybe she's getting something out of it. But then when it's imbalanced like that, there's no way she could be getting anything healthy out of it if what I'm bringing has even a tinge of resentment to it. Like, that's not good for either of us, even though. So it's just like, I had to kind of like consciously be like, all right, you're still my friend. I love you. If I'm ever in town, for sure we're going out. We're going to hang out. I'm going to hear all about your life. But right now, long distance relationships like that, it's not in me anymore to kind of maintain. I have so much going on in this real now. Like, I can't. Anyway, and then just that imagery of like, when I patched that hole of that, having this friendship where I was feeling resentment, it was just like, oh, I feel like so much tighter and so much more like solid, and like, now my energy, if my energy's not leaking, it's just like, because that's where that infinity loop.
Yeah, you focus the energy on something specific instead of just diluting it everywhere, and it's not going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not going to help achieve anything when you're like. Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm like hissing, this energy is pissing out. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm fine. I'm still functional. But if you can patch up all of that, if you can reach like this real good balance, it's just like, I understand now when they say like how powerful we are as humans. Like, our energy field is so powerful, but it's not if we're like leaking all over the place. But if you can bring it all in and reach that balance point, it's like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
this is like I feel like there's like a rocket fuel of energy. It's just like just ready to blast off here. Anyway.
Well, that's what being tuned in, tapped in, and turned on, like being aligned.
What's it like being turned on?
Turned on.
Tell us about being turned on, Mom.
Well, it's been a month and I don't know what's happening anymore.
Sorry, what were you saying? Being tapped in.
No, I'm just saying that few.
Say it into the mic.
Sorry.
We're
Podcast
learning. We're
number one,
learning.
yes. Forgive me.
Here, like this. You're gonna lick an ice cream.
Like an
Ass cream.
an ass cream.
That would be a fun flavor at the ice cream store.
Oh yeah, ice cream.
So yeah, no worries.
Sorry, man.
No problem. Yeah, no. I was just saying alignment and focus, tuning in is basically putting all the energy in yourself, basically, yeah, not letting it leak. So you can go ahead. Tell us about your month of being turned on.
To share my
Only if you want to. I don't know.
No,
I mean, it might be
I
too soon. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just I'm having fun.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
having a lot of fun.
good.
That's all I can share right now. Yeah, this moment.
It's been fun to watch you have fun. I gotta say that.
Really? What do you mean? Like it's been fun watching you have fun?
Well,
Yeah, explain
I
yourself.
set up cameras around your park,
Nothing happens in my apartment.
watching your children,
Yeah.
and they're having
That's
a great
what-
time when you're not home anymore ever. No, I
You
mean,
need to miss me sometimes.
it's true. That is true. No, it's just I love it when people in my life are happy, and also because I've just like the short period of time I've known you, like I've just seen you just like leap and bound in your personal development, and then to reap the rewards. Because it's one thing to like in theory be like, yes, when you learn how to step up for yourself and learn how to love yourself and learn how, it's just like, okay, that's all. It's all true and stuff, but then to actually tangibly see the results of that, and also like the power, this whole like law of attraction, and if like when you make decisions to cut out stuff in your life that's not serving you, we're taught that yes, that makes space for something better to make its way to you, and to see that actually happen. I mean, it happens to me all the time, but to see that it's so true. It's not magic. It's not. It's
not cuckoo thing.
It's
like
not
my-
woo.
yeah,
It's like a real. It makes
yeah.
total sense. If your energy field is, and we are just not just energy. We are amazing bundles of energy. But if there's anything in that energy field that's pushing away,
But this is my like the reality. It's my truth. No. I've been told so many times by strangers that they love my energy, and it blows my mind because it never happened. Like I know, but the verbalize it that way, like when people come to you and just say, "We love your energy," it's mind blowing. Like what is happening? I'm just standing there, like dancing or just whatever, and people come and tell me this, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
yes, Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Right, but so you've brought in this amazing person into your life now, and so far no red flags. Like that's amazing. But maybe this is a nice little segue into the that video that we watched.
Oh yes.
Okay, so just real
Or
quick,
maybe, yeah, go.
Caroline Winkler. I'll have to link it in the description.
Yeah.
One of my favorite YouTubers. She does beautiful work. She does interior design stuff, maybe a little bit of fashion stuff. But anyway, occasionally she'll get into like self-help stuff. And anyway, this video was like overcoming her anxious attachment was the video.
Oh my God, it resonates so much. Like I was listening to her. I'm like, oh my God, this is just, she's describing me at some point. Like all that anxiety that comes with like the first weeks of meeting somebody new and doubting yourself, seeing stuff and telling yourself, this is too good to be true. I'm just gonna leave. I'm not this cannot happen. Like this people cannot be like this in real life. Like because of all your past experiences that were fucked up, you lose faith basically. And I was panicking this past week, seriously. Every single day I'm like overthinking everything. This is not gonna work, this is not gonna happen, this is not, even though I deserve it, I know I deserve it, but it's something bad is gonna happen.
There was still that little voice inside of you that was like, I'm not worthy of this.
It's not that I'm not worthy. It's like, well, maybe I don't know it, but I feel like nobody can be like this in real life. This is just a ruse.
This is the honeymoon period. Yeah, something's gonna come up,
and they're just like, this is all bullshit. It's something is gonna happen, and it's all gonna crumble, and this is just. And I'm gonna see all the red flags, and I'm just scrutinizing every single word. I mean, it's exhausting.
Oh, so you brought a little hypervigilance to it. Yeah. Okay.
It's a defense mechanism.
It's a defense mechanism because it stems from all your past experiences, and you just keep seeing like whatever they do or say, oh, they cannot be that honest. Like it's impossible that somebody can be like this. And I'm like, but I am really like lovable. I keep saying that to myself. Why not? But at the same time, it's like they must have an agenda. They must. Like, it's crazy.
So when she talked about having that experience, and I think the relationship she's been in, it's been a couple of years, and she's still kind of struggling with that. So, for you to like kind of reach this kind of more peaceful place, I imagine it's getting easier.
Asking for reassurance, like the reassurance, like it's like I did that, even though I was like, this is not something that comes from outside. But I just needed to hear it like a couple of times to just calm my nervous system.
Fair enough.
Well, and the other thing she touched on that I thought was super interesting is this idea of obviously recognizing like, no, this is coming from inside of me. Yeah. Like I can look at his actions and realize the way I'm feeling is not a valid response to what he's doing. Okay, so where's this coming from? This is my own thing. Okay, great, this is my own thing. But now, how do I communicate to him that this is something I'm going through? Because it's not fair. It's like there's a balance there too, where it's like, this is my thing. You should be aware of it, but also I also need you to not be aware of it. Like I don't need you. I don't know. So how did you navigate that?
I was very honest about it. I communicated it, and the reception was just amazing. Like. And this is what blows my mind. Even though, like, I'm saying, I'm being true to myself, and I was like, I have to be honest, and I have to say the things that I need to say, and see how he's gonna react to all this thing. And he's really open-minded about it. It's just really like, I understand what you're going through, but that has nothing to do with my feelings, like, for you. And it's just, nothing's going to change. This is who I am. This is how I see things. And I understand. He's just, like, saying that he understands. And I'm like, oh, my God.
You passed another test.
Yeah, I know. Poor guy. I've been testing him every single day.
But in a way, that's how you establish a safe space. Because he's kind of like, you're creating those neural pathways in your brain that are telling you that each time you go, you're making yourself vulnerable, then you're being well received. That's like an anchor point.
That's healing as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So
he was passing tests that you didn't even know you were praying. I'm like, you told that story about when you were dancing.
I know.
couple weeks ago. Can I say it or
Yeah,
better not to? Well, there when you guys were
Oh, yes,
dancing
yes,
with those
yes,
guys
yes,
at
yes. We went to dancing, and I was dancing with him, and everything's fine. Those two girls come up to me, and they're like, "Oh my God, we love your vibe. We want to dance with you," and blah blah blah. And they were obviously lesbians. She had really short. Well, you can tell anyway.
a bit
Like
masculine, or a bit
masculine, and
butchy. Yeah.
but very sweet. And she had a very short, like, haircut and everything. And he was just dancing with me, smiling, and I'm like dancing. I leave him and I dance with him. It's like, and then we go home. He's like, "Do you know those guys that you were dancing with?" And I'm like, "No, those are girls." Like, what are you talking about? It's like, are they friends with Kate or just? I'm like, those are girls, and I was surprised that he was not like
No jealousy.
no jealousy, no nothing. I left him and I was like dancing with those two guys, and he was like, "Okay, that's what she does, I guess." So it was a really nice surprise, actually. Good feeling that he's not a jealous type. I don't know.
That's great, actually. That's definitely green flag.
Big green flag.
Yeah.
So orgies are in your future.
Orgies?
Yeah, 3.
With the
With-
no, yeah, no orgies
Yeah, I'm not into orgies anymore
I don't
either. so.
anymore.
More. Please explain.
Have you had an orgy before?
I've been to sex clubs a couple times. There's one here in Montreal, or one that I'm aware of, and yeah, towards the later end of my marriage, we got a little kinky. It was like this, like when you've been with someone for so long, and not just someone, like someone where there's so much dysfunction and so much resentment is built up. Like this was the move we made to try to like bring some energy back into our relationship. And in fact, we even like opened it up. Like at one point he had a girlfriend, and anyway, that's a whole other. We'll save that one for Patreon. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I was into it. I guess, I don't know. I like the idea of, I at one point, if you would talk to me, I'd be like, yes, polyamory is a real valid thing. And of course you can love someone and someone else at the same time or whatever. Now that I'm in a very happy, stable, respectful relationship, I have zero desire to share my sexual energy with anyone else except Lamia. But yeah. It's true though. I don't know. I don't know what we do. I don't know.
I don't know what we. I don't know what you guys do either.
It's just fun. It's fun. It's fun.
Weird. My daughter asked me about our relationship. She's like, you do those things? My daughter, the lesbian.
Well, you have to be specific. We do those things. What things? We don't do
know, we're
much.
silly.
Yeah, guys, what do you guys do? Please
Like we
explain.
had sex.
We've
No,
never had
not,
sex.
Not yet, but
Not yet. Not yet.
love it.
I love it.
I don't know what our thing is. We're
We're
defining something new, I think.
But seriously, I love our relationship. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. And this is just an expression of our love and
Legitimate love.
Seriously, we just like to be silly. And because we both like highly
We're both silly and we're both highly horny.
highly horny and sexual.
Highly
Like
horny.
on the
it's just-
silly, non-silly, horny,
We
non-horny. We're like
express ourselves very
goofily.
and authentically. I don't know. Me neither. I don't know how to explain this.
I don't know how to
We
explain it.
just like to play games
With each other's
our-
genitalia.
I hope my kids don't.
We just play games with each other's assholes. That's all.
That's all. There's nothing to it, really.
No, all that to
my
say is
God.
no. The like
No.
polyamory and stuff. Like I don't. To me, like I have zero interest in that now.
Yeah.
Like that was a product or a part of my life when I didn't love myself, was in a relationship with someone who had no respect for me and was very abusive. Like, and not to say that anyone in a polyamorous relationship is not happy or whatever, but just for me,
Yeah, I'm not interested.
yeah,
in that
like
either.
it's now that I'm
Like,
totally solid, I have
in-
zero interest.
Yeah, in previous relationship, I was always thinking about having like a threesome. And,
Exactly.
And now I have zero desire of introducing anybody to this relationship, like ever.
Her 1 month-old relationship.
Well,
No, I do know. I do understand.
Like I have that like in my brain, like whatever relationship, like it's I'm not interested at all in this stuff anymore.
I totally understand. Yeah, I totally get it. But yeah, I was in these sex clubs a couple times, 2 or 3 times. It was wild. It was very wild. I went in. Do we want to hear about this?
Yeah,
No, I
let's
don't know.
go.
I went into it just out of curiosity, and at one point I was like, I'm just gonna go. We're just gonna look, no big deal. But then at one point you're sitting in these little rooms because it's not just like one big space. It's like you move through and there's little spaces and different things are going on in different rooms. And I'm sitting there fully clothed in a room full of everyone else being fully naked. And at a certain point it's like, well, I at least need to take off my clothes. And then before you know it, you're like getting eaten out on a table with eaten out by a woman.
This is on the podcast right now.
Okay. What was it?
Sneak peek.
Oh, and then it was actually because I was very attractive and she was really attractive, and we kind of drew an audience. So people were kind of stopped what they were doing and kind of like looking at us. And then our partners were both there and they were watching. But I remember at one point her partner put his hand on my butt, and I remember thinking, "Oh my God, if my partner sees this, he's gonna freak out." Can you imagine? I'm sitting in a sex club. We went there together. Of course, this is gonna happen. But I'm so scared of his jealousy issues because the guy has his hand. Anyway, that's what happened. That was one story from the sex club.
Guy.
Well, you joke, but that was
What?
part of the thing was he told me pretty early on in our relationship that if he ever died, I wasn't allowed to remarry or anything. Talk about red flags.
Red flag. Oh, fuck.
And you said, "Yes, sweetheart.
Oh,
I will
it's 'cause
never."
you love me so much. Yeah, red flag. Red flag. And then later when things were degrading and I was really just not in a good place at all and would fantasize about being with other people, because obviously these fantasies were like, it was more than just like having sex with them. It was like, oh, what would my life be like if I wasn't in this relationship, but another relationship. So anyway, I was very like spent a lot of mental energy imagining being with other people. And at one point he made it very clear that if I ever cheated on him, our relationship would be over.
Okay.
Which at one point we got into a big fight, and I said, "That's it. I'm going out. I'm gonna fuck some other guy." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You said if I slept with someone else, you'd end this relationship. So that's what I'm doing. Like I was gonna be my ticket out."
Yeah.
And he pulled out his camera and he was filming me. "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to fuck some other guy," because he wanted it as like evidence for. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, and then at one point it shifted to, because I think after that, now that I'm thinking about it, after that happened and he realized like I had no hesitation sleeping with another guy. I didn't, but that time. If I, where was I going with that? Oh, then it shifted to, if you sleep with anyone else, I'll kill you. Red flag.
A little bit of
Bathing in red blood, not flag.
Yeah. So it escalated to murder. Anyway, how do we get into this dark, nasty?
Funny.
We went from. That's hilarious.
I love this conversation.
But let me ask you though, when you would go to sex clubs with him, would he participate or would he just watch?
No, so it started the first time I think was with us. We had sex with each other in a room where other people were also having sex. It was more of that, and then one thing I did find that was super interesting about these places is they're very, very consent heavy.
Yeah.
They have to, and so couples would come and kind of be close, and then it's kind of like dancing. It's like they're coming and they're indicating they're interested, but if you're not interested, you just kind of ignore them, and then they eventually go away. So people would come and want to get involved, but we didn't do that. And then like on the second time we ended up kind of hooking up with this other couple. I hoped that he would hook up with a guy. Like there was a part of me that was one curious if he had any kind of homosexual inclinations, because early on in our relationship there was a mutual person that we knew who everyone suspected was gay, and he told a friend of mine that he had a relationship with this guy who I was married to, or not married to yet. But anyway, so I suspected maybe there was something there. So it never happened. So what was your question? Yeah, so mostly we stuck to ourselves, but there was that one time where we got involved with another couple. But then, and oh my God, the sexual energy that those nights carried, like for weeks later, we just
stays with you.
Oh, totally. Like we were just fired up, and we would just like relive that night in our heads, and we talk about it, so yeah, that definitely added a year or two to our marriage. But yeah,
quality or no?
Well, yeah. It ties into the when we opened up our marriage, he got this girlfriend, and it was my idea. It was a Hail Mary, like we were gonna get divorced. We had this awful summer. We went to couples therapy in the fall a couple times, and after one session I was just like, I'm out, I'm done. I can't. We'd done this enough times. This was years, a couple decades into this relationship, and he amazingly, he was kind of accepting it. Like at one point, instead of turning to anger, it was more like a sadness. And he said, is there anything I could do, or we could do to try to salvage this or make this work? And I was like, what if you got a girlfriend? And he was like,
why did you think about that? What kind of a solution is that? Like,
what kind of weird? I know. So the reason, I don't know why I said it in the moment. It wasn't like a conscious thing. Now I have to back up again to when I would get depressed I would get depressed. I was in a very toxic relationship, and now I know that my depression was purely situational, and it was because I was in this toxic relationship. But at the time, it was just Kate has depression, and every now and again she gets depressed, and the kids are overwhelming, and work is overwhelming, and so she gets depressed, and so she spends 3 days in bed. And I would spend 3 days in bed ruminating about like what my life could look like if things were different. And I mean, at some level, I knew it was this marriage, because I mean, I saw the way he was treating me. I could go from having a good day, feeling good, or at least thinking I was feeling good, like texting my sister and saying, hey, how's it going, whatever, and then he could say like one thing to me and I would just be out. Like my happiness was very like surface level, and sometimes that was enough to carry me through, but other times it was just, anyway, that was a segue. So I would sit in bed, I would ruminate, and a common daydream was being separated from him. And I had it all worked out. I would have an apartment, he would have an apartment, the kids would stay at the house, and we would take 1 week on, week off, and so the kids didn't have to move. And then someday I would meet a great guy, and then maybe I'd have more kids with him, and then when I got to the part of the fantasy where my ex would meet someone new, it just brought up all this jealousy. Yeah, like there was just like some unresolved abandonment stuff in there. And so that when I'd get to that part of the fantasy, I would actually start crying. I was actually like, when I was depressed, there was no emotion. It was like very dry. But then when I got to that part, was tapping into some grief, and I would start crying, and that would be the thing that actually get me out of it. It would get me to be, hey, all right, I'm back in this. I'm gonna try again. I want to, like it would get me out of bed. I would get up. I'd take a shower. I'd clean. So it's just that idea of him of being someone else just freaked me out. And so when things weren't going well, and I suggest, or not things are going well, it looks like things were done, and I suggest get a girlfriend. I think my subconscious knew I needed to release this idea with him with another woman, this was a big hook. This was the thing that was keeping me hooked into this. And so he begrudgingly did. I helped him set up a profile on one of the dating sites. And pretty quickly he met someone. And we had some rules in place. I don't remember what they were. I'm sure if I thought about it, I could find them again. Or anyway, it completely reignited our relationship. He would go on these dates. He'd come back smelling like another woman. Oh my God, it drove me crazy. And then sometimes he would be out, and he was like, "Okay, you go out, but you had to be home by like 2:00." And if he was gone like at 2:01, I'd be like, "Where the fuck are you?" Like I just became this jealous, crazy lady.
God, this is the movie character. Seriously, we need to make a movie out of this.
Yeah,
Insanity.
I called it like that part of my life. What kept coming out was we were playing with fire, and there was something exciting about playing with fire. It was like, and also we couldn't tell our friends or family because it was very scandalous. Yeah, so that made things very exciting. But yeah, just like it reignited our sex life, and I was insanely jealous of this woman. And then the first time they had sex together, he sent me a photo of them like being all like lovey-dovey, and it just, but then he came home and I was like angry, but then that anger became like horny rage. And yeah, I love that face.
I'm having an orgasm.
That's hilarious.
That's her horny rage. You getting turned on here? Get over here. Get over here.
Wow.
Yeah, so then that was good for about maybe 6 or 9 months. And then she's actually from another country. She went back to visit her family for like a month or two, and that kind of like settled things down. And then not pretty quickly, like I said, it took several months where we really were intensely, and I was madly in love with him, and I like started calling myself his last name. Like I kept my maiden name when we got married, but all of a sudden I wanted to have his last name. Like it just, I had.
What did she say? I'm just laughing. This is insane, but delightful.
Delightful insanity.
Delicious.
This is delicious. I swear. Like the way she says it. It makes, yeah.
But it was great, because then when things inevitably went back to all the just awfulness and the abuse and my codependency and all that stuff, I didn't have that fantasy anymore. It was burned off. Those hooks were gone. I had seen him with another woman, and I was like, go. By that time, it was like I was hoping he'd fall in love with her. I was hoping he would leave, and he didn't. And so eventually I had to leave, and that was a mess. But like, that was a step I needed to go. That was the block that was keeping me in this thing, whatever that was. And then for that 2-year period between when things were really great and then things settled down, and then they really got back to where they were. At one point, he was like, when things were really bad again, he was like, well, can let me get a girlfriend or whatever. And I was like, sure, but that's not changed anything for me. Yeah, like that's just what needed to happen for me to be able to leave. And again, it was like, this is all me. Like his behavior ultimately didn't really matter. I needed to realize whatever insecurities I needed to patch up. That's how I patched him up by bringing. And this poor woman later during our divorce, she played a role, and she helped.
She knew he was married.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And then at one point, I met her. At one point, she spent the night at our house, and we were all sleeping in.
It's all right. Yeah. I'm not judging you.
No, it's not judgment. It's just weird. Yeah, things got weird.
I have to say it. I'm not judging you.
I'm not judging you. Give me a side eye.
No, but hold on.
I'm
this might be our last podcast.
Psycho whore.
15. No, I'm invested in the story now. Cut the laughter. What do you mean she came to spend then she became part of the relationship for a little bit?
No, but she did meet the kids.
As what?
As Dad's friend, who he met at a Scotch bar.
Fine, okay. And why did she come into your home?
Weirdness, the continuation of the weirdness, maybe this idea that polyamory could be a real thing, or I don't know. I don't know.
But were you like, did you want to check her out? Did you want to like know who he was spending this time with? Like, did you want to get a feel for her? Is that why you invited
It's
her?
a good
Like,
question. No, because we had.
You've met her before.
We had met her, and then at one point, like he brought her to one of my comedy shows. We introduced her to some of our friends, but just again as Jimmy's friend, like it was no. I should probably anyway. I don't know. It's part of the public record. Yeah. No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, it's a good question.
This is very,
very
interesting.
interesting.
See, very interesting. Like your case is very interesting. Seriously.
And polyamory is a very interesting subject.
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to explore, right? And just the last question about it, then we can move on if you want to move on from that. But so then at that point, were you thinking that you can have a relationship with her, or that never crossed your mind?
Not with her. So, but at one point, I was getting kind of like a little like he sensed my energy shift a little bit, and he kind of came to the conclusion that it's not fair that he could get to have a girlfriend and I don't. But the compromise was that because he would never allow me to be another man. So it was Kate could have a girlfriend. I could. So then I explored that a little bit, and I had a friend of a friend who was really good at like dating profiles, and so she helped me set up a profile to attract
That's
women.
a professional quest. Like they're like very
Little
well
side quest.
Just they're very well organized in all this chaos.
Well organized chaos.
The best chaoses are well organized.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
This
didn't
is
go.
fascinating.
That's when I
Fascinating.
realized like I'm not. I don't even know if I'm bisexual. I mean like I like women. I love being with women, but I just like I don't know. I need.
All need the big D.
Yeah. Yeah. So so that didn't go well, but then God, I took a trip. Rarely. I can count on one hand the amount of trips I took without my ex while we were together. And in one of those, I met somebody. So this is probably why I wasn't allowed to travel alone. And I knew that if my ex found out that it would not be good. But at the same time, I also recognized like, hey, he has a whole girlfriend. Like me messing around with this one guy. Like, so I mean, I knew it was outside of the rules we had created. So technically it was like cheating. But at the same time, it's like, look at this. This is the game we're playing. This is the world we're living in. And that experience completely changed my life. I'm so grateful for it. Met this guy. We had a fun night together, and his plane was leaving the next morning, and mine left a couple hours later. And I didn't sleep with him. I mean, we slept in the same bed. We didn't. I stayed fully clothed, but he had a good time. I had a good time, but. I came home and I was a different person. And
Did you tell him?
my ex?
Yeah, that you had.
No, I kept that secret for a while. But at one point, I did tell him. And then very briefly, my ex was open to the idea of having some kind of open thing where I tried to have a relationship with this guy. But would have been long distance and to his credit, this guy, he didn't want to have anything to do with it. It's like, this is a freaking mess.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah, he was pretty. I mean, he has some flaws, but he has enough awareness.
Want to get involved in this?
Completely, good call on his part, absolutely. But I had the emotional attachment I had for this guy. Like I genuinely, I don't know if it was love. It wasn't love, but it was like
It was just like you found something, an escape, and you hang on to it because you wanted some hope and something.
Totally. Yeah, like at the time, the analogy that really resonated was like like there's these sprinklers that you get. It's like my whole life I've been watering this part, but there's this whole other part of my yard that was completely dried and dead, and for a minute this having this relationship like kind of woke me up to this whole part of myself that had basically shriveled and dried up. Yeah, so I'm just so grateful for that. That was experience that, like, I mean, the whole thing leads you, there's a whole path there, who knows there, but that was a big turning point. It was like, okay, I got a little taste of being in a relationship with someone. Also, like, energetically, like, we were just, there was a flow with him that was complete opposite of what my husband.
A sane person. He was a normal guy kind of thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously got some issues.
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't have
just messes around with married women. That's all.
Well, that's
no, but I'm so glad he did. Yeah. Like, I've heard. I have a sense that part of him probably feels a little guilty about that. But I'm just so grateful. Like, I would, the next time I see him, if he's willing to talk about it, I should tell him how that experience changed my life in such a positive way. Because I don't know if I would have, like, it was the thing that made me realize I got to get out of it. Not I got to get it out. It was the thing that made me realize things in my marriage need to change. I wasn't ready to get out. But things really need to change. And then through the act of trying to change them and seeing how hostile my ex became to these changes, it's like what they say: when you tell someone no, and how they respond really tells you how they are. And so for the first time, I was standing up and saying no to some of these things, and he did not respond well. And so then this notion of things really need to change very quickly became, I got to get out of this. And then I did. It took a while, but I did.
Triggered other stuff. It triggered stuff that happened.
Yeah,
well, like his kind of a trigger to.
His response was so crazy and violent, and he was vacillating between, like, we can make this work, I love you, look at this beautiful thing we have, to I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna make your life miserable. It's just like, so that black and white shit. There was no middle ground of, hey, we had a good run and I love you, and if this is really what you want, I respect that, and how can we do this in a way that's the best for the kids?
Well, if he was like this, I don't think he would have
had that. There you go.
Good
there
point.
You go. Yeah. So it just brought up, and then he was threatening suicide and sleeping with a box cutter, and like it was just things were nuts for a long time. For as long as I needed to be before I finally said, all right, we need to physically not be in the same space anymore, and that was a big no, another big no that he wasn't ready to hear, and completely became even more unhinged. And this is where the police records would come in handy. You want to see what that looked like. But all that to
answer your question.
So polyamory is not for me.
It's not for everybody.
Is it for you?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't
after
think
that
so.
story.
If it was, it's not anymore. Completely discouraged. No, I don't think so. I think I'm capable of a lot of love, and I think I can give a lot of love to a lot of people around me. But I think there's a specific space of intimacy that is really special when it's also focused, it's not leaky.
Yes. Well, on that, we should say goodbye, ladies.
See, that's
full circle.
Full
the
circle.
energetic circle.
That's right.
I love you guys.
I love you.
Get over here.
And go slap that ass.